Bride of Istanbul gave us one of the most unforgettable couples in Turkish television history. And although Faruk and Süreyya got their happy ending on screen, what happened to Özcan Deniz and Aslı Enver after the series was a very different story. For Özcan Deniz, life after Bride of Istanbul became almost as dramatic as one of his television roles. Just weeks after the emotional finale, Özcan went through one of the most difficult periods in his personal life when his 15-month marriage to Feyza Aktan came to an end. But their separation soon turned into a legal battle when Feyza filed criminal complaints against Özcan Deniz and his older brother, accusing them of repeated physical and emotional abuse. The accusations quickly became public, while Özcan strongly denied them and said they were meant to damage his career and hurt the ratings of his television projects. As the legal battle continued, the focus slowly shifted to their young son, Kuzey Deniz. Özcan asked the court for full custody, saying that the child was being neglected, while Feyza fought to keep primary custody. When the court finally made its decision, primary custody remained with Feyza, while Özcan was given broader visitation and parenting rights. And that was only the beginning. His personal life became even more complicated with a new marriage, serious family conflict, and even more drama that kept his name in the headlines. We covered more of what happened in his personal life in our latest video. But while all of this was happening in his personal life, Özcan was also building another important chapter in his career. He took on the role of Dr. Levent Alkanlı in Kizil Gongalad, which premiered in 2023 and quickly became one of the most talked about dramas in Turkey. The series touched on sensitive social and religious topics, and this quickly caused a lot of controversy in Turkey. RT UK eventually fined the show and suspended it for 2 episodes. But instead of hurting the series, the criticism only brought it more attention. Özcan was right at the center of all of this, continuing to play Levent throughout the controversy and into the show's 2nd season. So years after playing Faruk, he was once again leading a major Turkish hit. And despite everything happening in his personal life, his career continued to move forward. Today, although Özcan Deniz remains active in entertainment, he has also continued with music, performing live across Turkey and Europe, and making it an important part of his work. Aslı Enver's life after Bride of Istanbul took a very different direction. While Özcan's life became more public and chaotic, Aslı slowly moved toward a quieter life away from the spotlight. It started with an ending of her own, her long and on-and-off relationship with singer Murat Boz, which fans had followed for years, finally came to an end around the same time the show did. But instead of letting her next chapter play out in public like it had before, Aslı pulled back and became much more protective of her private life. After a brief relationship with Önder Özturhan, she met business executive Berkin Gökbudak. This time, she chose to build a life away from cameras and headlines. They married quietly in November 2022, and by July 2023, they welcomed their daughter, İlay. For a while, her quieter life made people wonder if Aslı had stepped away from acting completely, but she had not. She had simply become more selective about the projects she wanted to take. Her first major television project after Bride of Istanbul was Babil, where she returned as the lead in a high-profile drama. The series ran for 2 seasons, but it did not reach the same level of success as Bride of Istanbul. And instead of trying to find another long-running television hit, Aslı started moving in a different direction. She returned to theater in 2022 and then moved towards streaming with Netflix's Sen Yaşamaya Bak and Disney Plus's Arayış. These projects gave her more flexibility than the demanding schedule of traditional television. That change eventually led to another major chapter in her career. In 2025, Aslı returned in the Netflix series Old Money alongside Engin Akyürek. This time, the series reached a much bigger international audience and brought her back into the spotlight on a global level. When the series was renewed for a 2nd season, it became clear that this was not just a one-time project. Streaming had become an important part of the direction her career was taking. And as of 2026, Old Money is where things stand for Aslı Enver. She is now far from the years when audiences around the world knew her simply as Süreyya. When you look at where they are now, it is clear that Özcan and Aslı took very different paths after Bride of Istanbul. Özcan's life became filled with legal battles, family drama, and public controversy. But through all of it, he continued moving forward with his career. Aslı took the opposite path. She stepped away from the noise, built a quieter family life, and slowly returned to the spotlight on her own terms. Faruk and Süreyya may have gotten their perfect ending on screen, but the two actors who played them continued writing their own stories long after the series came to an end. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel.